right, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, baby? Feeling good?
Well, one, I'm feeling good because these guys over here last night had an incredible victory. Well, I mean, a lot to fix, but still, thrilling to get back into a national championship game in college football. What a run this Kings team has had. And then
you know what I liked about that game last night? We all sat there frustrated that it was only a game because the Hurricanes dropped 4 interceptions, created all kinds of stupid penalties, and they made it a game with that because they dominated the stats, time of possession, everything. They should have kicked their ass and won by 10, maybe 14 points. And then when the game's over and you let hindsight set in, you now go, holy shit. They just won a game at the highest level by playing shitty.
Yeah.
They're good. They're good. Okay? Yeah. Because when you can win by playing shitty, you're good. Okay? Oh, yeah. And that's another – because the Ohio State game was a domination, was perfection. The Texas A&M game was a tight contest that you had to use mental and physical toughness to stay on your edge and make very little to no mistakes, and you won. So they were different environments, and this one was a completely different environment. You were discombobulated at times. You made all kinds of mistakes. You let them constantly in the game, and then you found a way to win at the end. And to me, that's a sign of a great team, actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you always say just about any team like that's trying to make a run, if they could just get past their clunkers, like you just survive some of the games, like even the 0-1 Hurricanes had that game in Boston College that was coming down to the end. And then, Ed Reed takes the ball from Matt Walters on the return and takes back the touchdown. But, I mean, Boston College had UM almost on the ropes there with that drive. Where any team you're just hoping to survive, like Ken Dorsey had 4 interceptions in that game. You're just hoping to survive those games. This is not like against any old team. This is an Ole Miss team that is in the college football playoff semifinal. Say what you want about that. They don't have Lane Kiffin on the sideline, and he's not coaching them. That team, with a lot of its current coaching staff, I know some of them departed between the game against Georgia and this one, but they beat Georgia too just a week earlier. So it's not like it's just some run-of-the-mill team that just got lucky to be there. Like, that's a good football team with a good quarterback that UM had looking suspect at times. And if they just come up with these interceptions, that he would have had multiple turnovers in this game. So, yeah, I mean, to be able to survive a game like that, then I was saying after the game in a tweet that I almost low-key like it that they got through with such a game with so many errors and miscues.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I think now they have so much ammo for Cristobal to go coach up his guys before the title game and fix all these things and get back to how they played against Ohio State, which is probably what it'll take, again, as an underdog. Now, they were the favorites against Ole Miss, but same way as against A&M and against Ohio State, there will be underdogs again against either Indiana or Oregon.
I told you, bro, these 3 wins were completely 3 different wins. Completely.
Yeah.
Team won a really tough, close, on-the-road contest at Texas A&M, low scoring, and then in the Ohio State game, you actually dominated that game, and then this one was a tight contest where you screwed up a whole bunch of times, and then you found ways to win. 3 different games, 3 different Canes teams, all wins in every single scenario. To me, that is a very tested team. Put it that way. That's what I would look at. But here's the other thing that I was talking with Manny about. This was a failed season. It was a failed season. You didn't get to the ACC championship game. You didn't win the ACC. You were failed. And then all of a sudden, the committee saves your ass. They put you in, which you deserved it. I get it. Still shocked that you went over Notre Dame and Alabama. I don't understand that one, but I'm still by myself on that one. I'm sitting by myself, as they say, with that one. Like, what the hell is going on here? But it's just one of those things. You overcome all of that kind of stuff. To me, you make this season now incredibly successful once you take Texas A&M and where you're at now. Like, everything changed, dude, because if you don't get in the playoffs and they vote your ass out, like a sour season completely. Mario,
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? So this was really cool that one decision changed the direction of everything that went on for the Canes this season.
Yeah, you'd be in the Pop-Tarts Bowl again with probably a lot of players already moving on. Some opting out of the bowl game, some going ahead and preparing for the draft. Like, Ruben Bain and Francis Mauigoa, they might have had their last moment as Hurricanes on the field at Pittsburgh in late November, as opposed to these 3 games that we have seen. I think you always felt this team, if you just got them in, they would have a chance to go on this run. You just knew it because you knew they weren't really the team that lost that Louisville game and SMU game. And credit to the committee and good that the CFP has expanded to this level where, all right, because Ohio State won it last year as a 2-win or as a 2-loss team that was the 8th seed. Miami as a 10 seed getting into the title game this year. It shows that in this NIL era, there's a lot of parity where it's not just like that 1 and 2, and maybe that 3 and 4 can sneak in and win a title. Like, college football is deeper now as far as teams that are viable contenders.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. All right, let's get to the Dolphins. Your initial thoughts on the hiring of Jon-Eric Sullivan?
Yeah, it shows a few things. For one, truly that the Dolphins were prioritizing getting this GM hire, bringing in the right guy, doing that first, and really separating it from the coaching search. Because if it was all about a John Harbaugh pursuit, then like I think I already see in your title here for today's show, that they might have leaned the way of Chad Alexander and said, all right, now we have a guy who has a connection to John Harbaugh. So they made these things independent of each other. They went with the guy they wanted. They've been prioritizing a scouting background, which Jon-Eric Sullivan does have. He has a long-standing tenure with a winning organization, a historical winner in the Packers, going back to teams that had Brett Favre on them and made some runs deeper in his career to all the Aaron Rodgers years, and then being in this more elevated role later on as a VP of player personnel. Now in recent years, as they've maintained a level with Jordan Love and a number of other roster moves that have proven to keep this team afloat and contending consistently. So comes from a winning culture. I saw Diana Rossini report that Troy Aikman was one of his biggest proponents. So you see the outside influence of not just the Dolphins brass and Dolphins core going ahead and doing their own thing, and then just having Troy Aikman to say they brought in someone from the outside. I think you saw some true influence from the person they brought in to do exactly that, bring another set of eyes to truly evaluate the whole situation.
You're not believing the bullshit that they never contacted Harbaugh, right?
See, I feel like there's probably like ways that you talk around something like that, right? Like,
exactly.
Okay, yeah, you're not contacting Harbaugh, but
you contacted Harbaugh.
Back channel to someone who knows somebody get word to you like, oh, he'd be interested. So I feel like there's probably something there. I mean, Stephen Ross has too good of a relationship with the Harbaughs for anyone to just believe there's absolutely nothing that they are excommunicated from each other.
By the way, isn't it an organization that cheats and lies? I'm sorry.
There's a history there. I'm not going to go that far as like.
I get it. I get it. You're on the beat, so you worry about them. You know that.
Not that. I'm not going to call something out that I don't know.
I'm sorry. What were they doing in the middle of the night going after Jim Harbaugh? Was that not cheating and lying?
You're saying that Jim Harbaugh when they had Tony Sparano?
That's cheating and lying.
Yeah,
right?
No, I agree with you on that one. I'm just saying I wouldn't call this one.
So if you're going after Sean Payton and Brady, you're cheating and lying also.
Yeah, they did it
correct?
There. Yes.
Okay, so it's an organization that cheats and lies. So since they cheat and lie, they're lying about not contacting Harbaugh, is what I'm trying to tell you. Correct? I mean,
yeah. I'm just saying I would.
One day I'm going to drop a lie that is going to kind of freak a lot of you out. Okay, I know they cheat and lie. And I got a lie that is, stuff you all wrote about, and you all wrote about a lie.
Tell us right now. Big O.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Gotta wait. There's a time and a place for everything.
Don't tease us like that.
Well, bro, I teased everybody for a while until Omar found out. I told everybody that Flo didn't want Tua, and I knew he wanted Love. And to credit to Omar, I told all of the beat writers that were on with me in those days. I had like 5 of them on with me every week, and I told each one of them Flo was, running roughshod through the building. That was my line. And on top of all that, he hated Tua. He didn't want Tua. He wanted another quarterback, and I knew he wanted Jordan Love, and so I told all of them. And none of them figured it out until Omar figured it out like months later that it was Jordan Love. It was towards the end of the year. So I think it was closer to when Flo was getting fired, and then some of the leaks were starting to come out a little bit more. So this is an organization that lies and cheats. Now, in football, probably all of them do that at one point or another. They're all lying and cheating.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, when you tell me you haven't contacted Harbaugh, you have no credibility, is my point. I'm not going to believe you. By the way, if Alexander gets to the second round of interviews without a first round interview, what do you say about that? Does that not, as the late great Mad Dog would say, I put it to my nosey and it don't smell so rosy, okay? Because you can't get to a second level of interviews if you didn't pass the first. But you only passed the first because it was bait. So, this is how this whole thing went. They got their 7 candidates. They were going to do the human Jenga. They were going to go with McDaniel and one of the San Fran guys, and it was going to be Josh Williams. I'm guaranteeing you it was going to be Josh Williams.
Right. He's the one that advanced, yeah.
He's the one that it was only 2 guys. It was Chad and him. Nobody was going to hire Champ. And the guy for Harbaugh was not coming because he's going wherever Harbaugh goes. So we were down to 2. The headline on my show yesterday was the Dolphins are down to 2 candidates. Okay? Because I know that they were down to 2 candidates. The other 2 are just a farce. So we look at all of this. You have Chad there when he didn't even do the first interview. So he's going in second. You think that through back channels, this guy who loves the Harbaughs and everything didn't go and ask? And then they found out, yeah, no. And during the interviews with these executives, when they asked them about Mike McDaniel, I don't believe they got a rosy review from everybody. And that made the old man think. And then all of a sudden, Harbaugh got fired. And he goes, oh, shit, let me fire this guy so I can go reach out to Harbaugh, because I can't do it again where I had somebody in place when I went to go look for the first Harbaugh. So they go and fire him. They go to find out nothing. You're not going to get it. He's not interested because it doesn't make sense to come here at 63 with cap problems and all that. So now they go, okay, well, the human Jenga thing is out. We're firing McDaniel, so the 3 guys, but we do like Josh, so we'll put him up with Eric and those 2 guys, and we'll see which one we like the best. And we went with Eric. And there you go. And so to me, this was plan C, but you can't talk about it publicly. You can't say, hey, well, we were going to do the human Jenga because we really like Mike. I mean, if Mike is telling you in a press conference, I'm staying. If Mike is telling you in the press conference, I'm helping out with the GM search, that comes from above. So, that was their plan A. Plan A, scratched. Harbaugh, plan B, fire McDaniel. Oh, that didn't work. Here's plan C. And by the way, after all this discombobulation, they actually ended up in a pretty good place because they got a GM who will hire his own head coach. So I think that that's a good thing overall. But don't bullshit me, bro. I know what you were trying to do, and it was kind of a little, discombobulated, but you ended up in a good place. You started off in the normal place that you were going to do dysfunction with the human Jenga, and then the whole Harbaugh, and then now this. Your thoughts on my theory?
On all of that, yeah, because my mind went to like three different things that I want to say at different points. Let me see if I can collect them all and express it. So one, yeah, I like the structure of going GM first. Now you have that going, yeah. So I mean, you got to say positive here. Also, I did want to say, so I guess they did finally get a person in the building who wanted Jordan Love over Tua Tagovailoa just 6 years later, right? So, I mean, he comes from the Packers. They drafted Jordan Love. So now you finally go and pivot on that one. Just 6 years later, now you hope that he gets the next quarterback decision correct. You mentioned Mike McDaniel on Monday saying, that he's feeling like he's coming back. Although let's also look at the quote exactly where he was saying, until I'm told otherwise. I'm coaching until I'm told otherwise.
My brother,
Which indicates to me
he's going to say that
wasn't
in week
positive.
10. No, dude.
He wasn't 100%.
He's going to say I'm the coach until told in week 10, in the offseason, during the draft. That's a company line. He says, I'm the guy until I'm told.
No, but that indicates like, okay.
By the way, John Harbaugh said the same thing in Baltimore before he got fired.
Yeah, because it's possibly imminent. It's possibly going to happen pretty soon. So I think Mike McDaniel knew at that point, okay, like I guess the lean is that they want me back, but this thing might still be up in the air. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to say was
you're right. The lean is I'm helping out in the GM search. I'm assisting.
But I think people took that to mean more than what he meant. Like he's not
not sitting in.
Like there was a power six.
It's not a sitting in thing, but he is assisting opinions and information and all those kind of things. If he says he was assisting, he was assisting. He never said I'm sitting in the interview room. That was then taken by the media and ran with it that way. Right. But he said he was assisting. So somebody above him told him, you are assisting, okay?
Which could mean anything. Could mean like, they asked him about these 49ers candidates because he has previously worked with all three of those guys, and he said good things about all of them. I don't think
you've been lied to enough in this business, bro. I really don't. You give them
I'm just saying
the benefit of the doubt, bro. Too much.
I'm saying I understand that people manipulate the truth or lie by omission, like say something that isn't a lie, but it's like they're not telling you the whole truth. Yeah, I mean, I think like that kind of stuff is going on, like probably with this narrative, like to get back to what you mentioned about how Stephen Ross reportedly, I forget who reported this, but reportedly had a meeting with Mike McDaniel on Tuesday that then left him thinking or revisiting the idea of having him back. I struggle to believe that he's been in the building for 4 years, and then Stephen Ross is about to keep him. But then, what could Mike McDaniel possibly say?
Nothing.
In one meeting.
That's a load of shit.
Change his mind.
That's a load of shit they gave Pelissero and these guys because they're league arms, and they have to repeat whatever the club tells them. That doesn't mean I have to believe your lie, dude, because you had to have that conversation a few days before when you kept him over Black Monday, when you told him he would help you guys in the GM search, when you went and brought 3 candidates from San Francisco. Can you be any more deliberate on what you wanted to do? Out of your 6, because Champ Kelly does not count. 60% of your candidates were from San Francisco. We know exactly.
Well, it was 8 total, 7 outside.
Okay, so 3 of the 4 were San Fran. Bro, that tells me everything what your first agenda was from the get-go. Keep McDaniel and pair him with one of his guys. But we have to have a backup plan. And that was the backup plan. And then the Harbaugh stuff came up, so they knew, okay, let's go get that guy just in case. And then they went and got Sullivan from Green Bay. So kudos to them.
Alexander. Yeah, that leads you to believe that.
Yeah, kudos to them that they had a backup plan to a backup plan at least. And they ended up in a much better place. But, bro, it's so obvious what they were trying to do from the get. They were still going to do the human Jenga shit. And I told everybody it was going to be Josh Williams. And it was Josh Williams all the way to the end. Except once they got rid of McDaniel, it was like, well, no, let's go with the fresh start, because it would look odd that you fire McDaniel and not hire Josh Williams. But I wonder, did Josh Williams give good reviews of Mike McDaniel? I just wonder.
No, I mean, I think Josh Williams, I mean, Josh Williams would have kind of an outdated sense, like the Dolphins within the building would have a much stronger sense of what McDaniel is right now after 4 years of having him as a head coach than if you ask, oh, what was Josh Williams? Oh, what do you think of Mike McDaniel? He's going to tell
from an outside. No, but you want to know. No. You want from an outsider's point of view of what you've seen of him as a head coach for 4 years.
Oh yeah, right.
That's what I'm sure. So I'm sure either Sullivan, Williams, any of the other guys, some of those people gave him bad reviews because something happened to the old man as Harbaugh got fired, and then he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, I got to pivot here." And then he used that bullshit excuse. Well, I met with McDaniel. And by the way, aren't the reports that McDaniel was completely shocked by the firing? And
that too. And he had told a lot of people close to him he believes he's back and everything. So,
of course you're back, bro. When you're assisting for the GM search and they bring 3 GMs to candidates from San Fran, you're staying, bro. But again, they had other things that happened along the way. And to their credit, they pivoted. I got to give them credit. They pivoted at least, and they pivoted to the right area. Now, last week, I said, you're not getting Harbaugh, you're not, all this other shit that we've been talking about for days now and all that kind of crap. But the one thing I did say is the Dolphins situation is a positive situation if you take a long-term approach. If you take a short-term approach, like some of our desperate fans, oh, well, look at Denver. Like everything that, like what happened with Sean Payton in Denver happens all the time. And it's like, that's, Tom Brady's also a 6th rounder. There are outliers to everything. Don't make an outlier the norm. So the next 2 years, you're going to have cap problems. You're not going to have the same kind of flexibility. So Harbaugh is not going to come to something like this. But this is what I said. And this is not knowing that Sullivan was going to get hired. I said the guy that I would hire, I would do what we did with Kevin Lockery, that he took the heat for the first few years, and then when they were a playoff-ready team, you went and got Pat Riley, and you took the next step. Renee Latchman carried you the first few years, and then you went and got Jim Leland when you were ready to really compete. I would hire Mike McCarthy because I'm not telling you he's a great coach, but he's a good coach. He's a good influence around people and players and your organization. You just hired a Green Bay guy. So I would hire Mike McCarthy to guide me through these tough years of the cap issue. And in my 3rd year, if Mike McCarthy proves that he can maximize it even better than what you expect, you keep him long-term. But over these 2 years that you have a whole bunch of extra picks, as you know, I would make sure now you have a Green Bay guy, a completely different set of eyes. He'll redo the scouting department. Hopefully you hit on those picks. Plus the 2 that you've had the last 2 years, you've hit on some guys. You can build a nice core that 3 years from now, you could be ready to really compete for a playoff and stuff. But you get that guy then at that point, not now. But if you need a guy to kind of navigate you through these rough waters, I would hire Mike McCarthy. Your thoughts? And I said this last week, by the way. This is not hindsight. Go ahead.
Wait, but sorry, you would hire McCarthy now or then? When you're ready to compete?
Then, last week, and now.
But I'm saying, like, you're saying now for the rebuild.
My plan was never. I gave everybody Josh Williams because that's what was coming from there. That's the story. I said last week, the way they are in a transition period right now with the cap, I need a coach that can kind of guide me through these rough waters. I would hire Mike McCarthy to get me through these rough waters because I'm not going to be really competitive like I can. I'm missing $50 million of cap space every year. It's going to be hard. You know what I'm saying? So I would hire Mike McCarthy for the next, couple of years, and then I would find my guy after that. That's what I would. And plus, if you find a quarterback, I'm sorry, what does Mike McCarthy do? Oh, I'm sorry, he works with quarterbacks. Yes. Okay. So if you draft a young quarterback this year or next year, I have a responsible person that I can have around that quarterback until I get my next coach. But right now, through this tough, rough waters that we're going to have, I would hire a guy like Mike McCarthy. Your thoughts on that?
I don't know. For navigating you through a rebuild, I would see it more so as the job of like a first-time head coach, not someone who has had the Packers job, who has had the Dallas Cowboys job, who has been on contending teams that have made deep playoff runs. Like I don't see that as. In fact, he won the Super Bowl when Aaron Rodgers was there with the Packers, right? He was the coach for that one. So. Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a Super Bowl, previously Super Bowl winning coach, even if he's had some recent failures in Dallas and whatnot.
No, he didn't. He wasn't. I don't. Do you really consider his run in Dallas a failure? Considering, I thought he did all right, considering Jerry and the atmosphere. I don't think he did a bad job overall.
Yeah, no, I mean, just didn't lead to playoff success, but he was a fine coach.
I'm sorry. Is that a McCarthy problem or is that a Cowboy problem?
Yeah, probably Cowboys more so. I'm just saying, that tenure, it didn't lead to, the success that they aspired to, of what they wanted it to develop into. But,
Cowboy Nation thinks they're winning a title every year. I mean, give me a break, bro. That's the most delusional fan base I have ever seen in my life is the Cowboy Nation. I mean, it's so overrated. I thought he did an all right job. So I'm just saying, now that you have this guy here, I don't know if I want a young guy at this moment. I think I want a veteran that's kind of been through all of this and has seen different teams and built through different teams and different players and different eras. I kind of like the McCarthy idea now even more than I did last week.
See, I like that type of guy for when you're ready to compete, not to get you through some rough years of the early part of a rebuild with a young roster. And I don't know how willing he would be to take on that type of role.
He will. He will. He doesn't have people lined up to sign him up. Plus, he's going to have familiarity with somebody that knows him.
Yeah, there's the Sullivan connection now for sure with Green Bay, but also like Green Bay's defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley is going to be a hot coaching candidate this cycle, and so there's a slam dunk connection right there. Even Anthony Campanelli, who was the linebackers coach here, I think is a tremendous leader of men. Like everyone got to see it when he had that Hard Knocks moment, that speech he gave in front of the whole team. After the Dolphins in 2023, when Vic Fangio left, then he went and joined the Packers as linebackers coach, and then had a great year there. Got the Jacksonville Jaguars defensive coordinator job, and has got the Jaguars defense forcing all these turnovers, playing to this level where they are the AFC South champs, number 3 seed in the AFC playoffs, about to play this weekend. So Anthony Campanelli, I don't know if he can that quickly get into the head coaching ranks after 1 year at the coordinator level, especially on the defensive side. But he also had a year in Green Bay, so there's a connection there with someone who was previously a longtime Dolphins assistant. Could he be like the next guy, like Ben Johnson, a Zach Taylor, all these coaches that have held these Dolphins assistant jobs, and then they go on to become, head coaches and find success with other organizations. Dan Campbell, of course. Could he be? There's a connection there, and maybe he could be another one of those success stories. Although it might be a little quick for him to get into the head coaching ranks this cycle, but there's going to be a lot of options. Even internally now, Anthony Weaver. You had mentioned so often. Do the Dolphins have the better head coach already in the building over McDaniel? And then he's a guy that's already being interviewed for 3 different roles as a head coach this cycle. He already had 4 other interviews between the previous 2 seasons, doubling up with the Falcons now because they just reopened after he also interviewed with them in 24. But you have him right there. So
that's right. I think Harbaugh either goes to the Giants or the Falcons. I think those.
You got a young quarterback already in place there, right? You don't have to deal with the go through this season with the dead cap of Tua, and plus, I mean, if it's Sullivan, maybe another Packers connection is at quarterback. Maybe he is the one to bring in Malik Willis. So as he's going to be a hot commodity at quarterback.
He barely played and got injured. Yeah. No thanks. I'm not paying that kid $30 million.
But it's Jon-Eric Sullivan.
That's fine. That might be the first disagreement I'll have with Jon-Eric Sullivan then. How about that? I can already foreshadow that one. If that's going to happen, I can already tell you I'm not paying Malik Willis $30 million. The kid barely played. And yeah, he had a couple of nice moments. He barely played and he got injured. And he's a running quarterback. So yeah, no, dude, I don't mind the guy that can run, but I want you to be able to make a living from the pocket, and then you only run when you have to run. But if I need you to run because I have to play design you in order for you to be an effective quarterback, I'm not comfortable with those kind of quarterbacks because eventually they will get injured in this league. So I need the guy like Mahomes. I need the guy like Jaden Daniels. I need the guy that can move, but in a game where the ends are fantastic and they're keeping you in check, okay, you need to burn them from the pocket, and you got to make a living there. And that's where, the Lamar Jacksons and the Jalen Hurts of the world and all those kind of guys cannot stay in the pocket 24/7 because they will die. You know what I mean? So I have a problem with that. And I think Malik Willis is that kind of guy that he's going to need his legs in order to be effective. I don't mind if you use your legs, but I don't want you to rely on your legs. That's dangerous.
Yeah, of course. Be selective in when you seek contact. I mean, I think you need mobility in this day and age where you need the quarterback to do more than just stand in the pocket. I mean, you can still have success that way, but it's just easier to play the whole game on offense if you have that at your disposal as well. But of course, not putting yourself at risk. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right. So what's your guess at head coach? Did he freeze?
Boy, I mean, yeah. Now this will just get started. So you got me?
Yeah, I got you now. But give me a guess. What's the one name? Don't give me 5 of them. Give me the one name that you want for him. Who is it?
Okay, that I want. Boy, that I want. I'd love for it to be Anthony Campanelli. Shit.
Okay.
I love covering him here. I don't know if he's ready for that. If I had to guess, like the leader in the clubhouse that I would
you're gonna do. You remember you're gonna do a lot of. You're gonna do a lot of losing.
I'm gonna give you one that you want. All right, if you want one that I want, that's who I want. But that might be for selfish reasons because I like the guy, enjoyed covering him. Maybe best for the organization at this stage would be. If you already got now Sullivan as your GM, it might be Hafley coming from Green Bay as well. Yeah, I mean Harbaugh would be the best one, of course, but then I don't know how realistic that would be. So
Harbaugh's dead. That one's done. Harbaugh's done. You can forget about that one. You went Sullivan. That's it. It's over. You know what I mean? The other guy is going to go with Harbaugh. Wherever Harbaugh is going, that's where that guy's going to go. And I really believe it's the Giants or Atlanta. I really believe.
Well, see, the Giants are retaining their GM.
I was thinking Tennessee, but that wacky ass woman, I don't know, dude. I mean, she got rid of Vrabel, so she must be weird, bro. You know what I mean? How do you get rid of Mike Vrabel? How do you do
now? What's the other situation where you could have a fresh coach GM combination is in Atlanta, where that's the other team where you have your young quarterback in place, a lot of offensive weapons. So you could get your John Harbaugh, Chad Alexander GM coach combination in Atlanta, where the Falcons also are now the only team with a GM opening, as they were with the Dolphins. The Giants still have Joe Shane there as their GM. Now,
I think if they would settle for Harbaugh and they want Harbaugh, they'll tell Joe, hey, it's been nice. We appreciate you. We're going to give you a job as a consultant, but we're going to bring in Alexander. because we want Harbaugh. So if they want Harbaugh, they'll accommodate. But that's why Atlanta, I think, becomes a very sexy destination. And by the way, easy division too. It's not like a brutal division too.
Oh yeah.
So that helps Harbaugh too. He looks at it and goes, okay, if he comes to Miami, he has to deal with New England and Buffalo.
He has to deal with Drake May and Josh Allen, and then
Right.
maybe either Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore with the Jets.
Right. Well, according to Todd McShay, Dante Moore's people are like, well, we might go back to college and make some money. We don't want to be a New York Jet, So I don't know if you saw that story.
Wow.
Yeah. Todd McShay is reporting that the Moore camp is like, we don't want to be a Jet, anything but a Jet. And so if Mendoza goes 1 and they're going to go 2, they kind of want to go back to Oregon. And you can make so much money now.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, that's
but they view the Raiders as that prestigious of an organization. I understand back in the day, but
maybe the whole Tom Brady bullshit. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? I don't know what.
No, that's fair for sure.
Maybe, but the Jets are the Jets, and so it is what it is. What are you going to do? But that's a crazy story if there's any truth to that. That the Moore camp is already like, no, we don't want to be a Jet, because I think the Mendoza kid will be the number 1 pick. Mm-hmm. He's just mentally so well put, and then physically he can do everything you need in the NFL level. He's just not elite at anything, but he's really good at everything, and so that's you can't.
We get to see them go at it tonight.
Yeah. I'm rooting for the Cuban kid, but dude, my gut tells me Oregon. I don't know why.
Like Indiana's just due, right? Indiana's just due for one, and they beat them the first time. It's hard to beat the same team twice when you're both highly competitive contending teams.
Yeah,
like Georgia, Ole Miss, that happened.
Can I give you something else? Can I give you some? If Moore wants to convince people he's number 1 tonight, there's a lot more on the line.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yes. So if you want to put on a show, you got to put on a show tonight against the other guy that's going to take your draft spot. So if you want to be number 1, you need to show up Mendoza. You know what I mean? And so same thing for Mendoza. He's got to kind of, continue to prove the doubters wrong that he belongs there. So there's a lot of great storylines, and especially whichever team advances.
Yes.
My God, the storylines for that is going to be great too, because Miami.
It's great to be a sports writer covering college football because I mean, you either got Fernando Mendoza coming home to play the Hurricanes in the national championship game or Mario Cristobal against Oregon. So you couldn't ask for anything better.
You couldn't ask for anything better except having Adam Luchtenstein on your beat.
Well, yeah, okay. We already got it.
That's what I'm saying. All of you should be sending gifts to Adam Luchtenstein. Okay, he's the reason why the Canes are where they're at, and when he's on the beat, they're going all the way. So, in fact, Furones is going to try to get him on the beat for the Dolphins for next year.
So let's have him complete his job. Let's have him complete his duties here with the Canes, and then then get me like some national NFL job. So that I can move on, and then let's let Adam Lichtenstein cover the Dolphins after that, so then the Dolphins can rise to prominence. How about that?
Okay, but let him assist you during the draft at least, so we can get some luck during the draft. We need the Lichtenstein luck in with the Dolphins. He's just giving it all to the Canes right now, bro. I mean, he said it's we got to share. Sharing is caring. Tell Lichtenstein that sharing is caring. Okay. All right, follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ Catch his exceptional work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. David, as always, thank you, my brother. Have a great weekend. We'll catch up on Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
You got it. There you go. And, of course, Welt Rheaume. We love talking about Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume. The consultation is always free. So if something happens to you, you're dealing with property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, bankruptcy, and this can happen to any of us at any moment. Save this number. You may not need them now, but you might need them down the line. Save it on the cell phone, 954-966-4646. You could also go to the website, wrflalaw.com. Give Jeff and Dan a call. They have their own adjusters. So if you have any damage to your property, they send the adjusters, they assess the damage, and then they call the insurance company. You never have to deal with the insurance company. It's a beautiful thing. 954-966-4646.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.